Holy fuck, holy. Here we are.
Here we are again. Yet another Thursday night, Knife Making Down Under podcast. We have with us our usual trio, Mert Tansu from Tansu Knives, Corin Urquhart from Gamico and Artisan Supplies, and me, Kev. I don't bother putting my surname up. Not as formal as these guys. Yeah, too poor. I can only afford to put 3 letters into the computer. Starts asking for some money after that. That's why we've got our Wi-Fi set up. So we've got a few people trickling in now on the side there. Scott Gregan, g'day. Andrew, Glenn, how are yous? Seth Brundle, good afternoon. You must be somewhere. Oh, no, you just said evening now. There you go. There's Brad.
Seth Brundle. Seth Brundle's been around for ages. He lost a few fingers in I think it was a table saw incident, and now he's back hammering again. So
yeah, sweet.
Yeah, I'm just having a chat to him. Then it's good to hear he's back on the rails.
Yeah, nice. That's good. We'll just let a few more people trickle in on the send me a free gas forge.
Did I typo the fucking thing again? Did I? Oh, there we go.
Doesn't matter. Lie recording. We lie.
South Australia.
Oh, righto. Yeah.
Well, John Worthington from New Zealand.
Hey, John, how are you, mate? Good to see you. Still up, mate. Late night for you.
Matty Snape. How you going, Matt? Good to see you.
Matt, I saw your message, man. I'm gonna reply to you. I'm awful. I've been under the pump trying to get shit done.
Yeah. I don't think anyone's really in a different situation just at the moment. This time of year, every year, we always forget. And then you hit that peak period where it's like, oh my fucking God, I've got all this shit to do. And days just seem to be flying through. Like, I don't know, I'm in the workshop and then I just look at my watch and it's 2:15 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You're like, fuck, where'd that go?
Rad.
Yes. Righto. So we've got a few people piling in on the listeners there, so we'll get cracking into it with our usual lot of chit chat and hopefully some worthy information somewhere in there. We missed last week. That sort of stuff happens. Christmas craziness and all the rest of it. Brief rundown on what you've been through, fellas. What's been happening, Mert? You can head us off.
What's been happening? In terms of the shop, I realized how busy I was because I finished like 7-8 knives since last time we talked. I had the Feather Integral Damascus that I made the steel in Bill Burke's shop 2 years ago. And 2 years ago, I heat treated, thinking that I'll take it to blade. Just for blade, I said, I'm pushing. I'll just leave it for next year. And I was going for this year. I even like finished the blade, hand sanded, didn't put a handle. Just before blade, I said, okay, there's no fucking blade, so this knife was staying. And while I was just sitting and looking at that knife every other week, hand sanded, looking to get a rust, I said, fuck it. I just finished that knife. And I finished another 4 or 5 custom orders. That's what I was doing.
Yeah, nice.
It's been busy in the shed for me trying to get stuff done before Christmas. Because, as you guys know, you don't want to be shipping anything during this time if you can avoid shipping during this Christmas rush, because I sent a knife to a customer of mine in Sydney. I got the delivery confirmation, and the guy said he hasn't received the knife. So that is not good.
Yeah, that sucks.
That sucks.
That sucks indeed. I think we've all been there at one stage or another with that, but I'm listening to what you're saying, and I'm thinking, just picturing in my mind the 4 knives that I've got to post out by Monday at the latest, I guess, and it's just like the worst time to ship shit out. But
No
You get
stress.
that.
No stress.
Yeah.
And in your R&R, Mert, you went and saw the rugby, didn't you?
Yes, I have. When was it? 2 weeks ago. I think it was the New Zealand All Blacks playing against Argentina. It was the first time I've been to a live event. It felt good for 30 seconds till I realized I fucking hate crowds. I was like, yeah, I'm glad to be back in the public again. There's so many people. Fucking hate you all.
Oh. Yeah, and that was with the restrictions on numbers for this COVID crap. I went to an All Blacks versus Wallabies game, and they had bloody 90,000 people into that bloody stadium.
I don't think there was any restriction. I think they made like everybody's sitting right next to each other.
Yeah, maximum capacity. Yeah, I think they had the maximum capacity capped.
No, I think that it was still like a lot of people in the crowd. You still got like the feeling of a proper match. Like you're watching the game, and all of a sudden, a dickhead from the back row screams, "Fuck him, Dickie! He fucking in head!"
Yeah. So we were at one of the games, Aussies versus All Blacks, up in the bleachers, and there was this big group of Kiwis up there started doing the haka, dancing around, and the whole fucking stadium was shaking. I thought we were going to be in the news for all the wrong reasons, like collapsing stadium, we're all dead.
Adrian Pauli, good morning from Argentina. Adrian.
Oh, there we go.
Buenos días. Buenos días, mi hermano.
Yes. He's just slipped in there with the talk of the football.
Yeah.
But Corin, what about yourself?
Yeah, Corin. Shit. Corin.
Yeah. He's been quiet just in the corner.
Also known as the Barrel Knife King. I think we gotta start introducing him as Barrel Knife King.
It's been a full on week actually. 2 weeks. We had the hammering at Everley, of course, which we'll talk about. Richard Morgan wants to know about that, so we'll tell you about that. And I've been working down on the south coast on the bushfire simulator that we run down there. So I tried to forge a bit of 1075 in it. So I put about 1,000 litres of propane, a bit more, probably about 1,500 litres of propane onto a piece of 1075 to see if we could forge it. But sadly, I couldn't get anywhere near it until it was cold. So yeah, it didn't work real well. I've got video.
I was going to say, not surprising, mate. The last lot of videos you put up there, you wouldn't be getting anywhere near that bloody thing, the heat coming out of that.
No, I did like the cooking the steak video, if anyone's seen that. I did a forging video. I'll see if I can figure out how to play it.
Yeah, I remember the last year's one. It was awesome.
Probably can't hear it. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Who's that dickhead?
A big fat me.
Fucker in the day glow with a hat on.
I'll show you it going. Wait up.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more impressive once we light it up.
How was your week,
Yeah, my week's been pretty good. Busy. People probably would have seen me post up that I had I actually ran 2 classes back to back as my last classes of this year. Both of them went really, really well. I had a couple of chefs come down and forge out a decent sized W2 chef knife each. And then then a Damascus making and knife making class. And it was ridiculously freaking hot on the Friday when we were doing the Damascus. Oh, look at that flame. Corin's just showing up the video of the bushfire simulator, and basically there's what size is that, Corin? Like 12, square meterage?
12 by 4 in that space. So in that space, and it's burning it in that 1,000 litres a minute.
That felt like my workshop last Friday.
Yeah, probably. It was fucking hot.
I put the air compressor in to blow all the dust and shit out, which I do every couple of weeks up in the roof space. And there was like electrical conduit caps that had warped and popped. So it's pretty fucking hot.
Yeah.
I've got to get one of those whirly bird things in there, man. It's not good.
I thought I had one for you, didn't I?
Oh, possibly.
I got one there for you.
Yeah, we'll sort that out.
I'm not going to put them in. Anyway.
Yeah, so you would have that would have been pretty intense down there, sorting all that sort of stuff out. That's obviously for the people that don't realise that the gas industry is what Coram works in primarily. We all know him as the king of group buys and steel and everything, but Cameco's main business is the gas side of things, and that project's huge.
The forges were how I got into blacksmithing and knife making. People used to come into the shop looking to make forges, and then I started developing the forge burner and going from there. And yeah, that's how it all started, through the gas.
Yeah, nice. So yeah, my week, like I said, ended with on a high because we had the guys make the bar of Damascus each on the Friday, and then 2 knives each, and it just all went well. They honestly could have been a reuniting with long lost friends. We got along so well, like a couple of locals. Man, I tell you, the fucking the dad jokes and the silliness that was going on all weekend. We're in hysterics most of the time. It's kind of funny. Yes,
awesome.
So good way to end the year there. I think it was fucking what's his name, Kittle. Oh, so you're on holidays now? And it's like, nah, not on fucking holidays. And then my wife had she went in for a minor surgery on Tuesday, and I'm now sort of on carer's duties for the next month as well. So I'm trying to fit in. She's mobile and stuff. She's good, but just not allowed to move too much or lift anything or do housework or cook or clean. So my little world's getting turned on the top of itself for the next 4 weeks. I've got driving Miss Daisy duty tomorrow, doing some stuff around town. Then hopefully get home and finish some knives off. But all good. Yeah. Like I said, it was stinking hot here on Friday when we're doing the Damascus. Absolutely ridiculous. And then overnight, the temperature dropped like 12 degrees. And we've been hovering around 20. Some storms this Arvo, which was nice. Perfect weather to be in the forge. So looking forward to it. Having a small hammer in with a few local Canberra guys on Saturday. Only 2 days away now. So Saturday we're doing that. That ought to be a bit of fun.
That's excellent.
Did you invite that McVicker guy?
Actually, I didn't invite the McVicker guy because I hadn't had a chance to get in touch with him.
Okay.
And I was just going to send him a message if he's listening. If you're not doing anything Saturday, mate, drop over. I don't know what they're doing. They're probably still teaching and shit out down far away.
If it's over the weekend, I'm sure
they've been flat out catching up from COVID. So yeah.
Yeah.
Same as all of us, really.
Yeah, that's it.
Never.
Evening, Steve.
How you going?
Yeah, so that's good. That's good.
All right, so let's talk about the hammering at Everley. Mert and I went. So just to fill everyone in, Matthew Mewburn got the okay to, because of the huge square meterage of his shop, got the okay to have 100 people. We went with 50 for a hands-on hammering. He donated the use of his workshop to the Knife Art Association for a day, which was a massive contribution. Thank you very much, Matt. Gamaco Artisan Supplies printed up the Knife Art Association some T-shirts, no cost to them, which they sold to, and it was all about raising money for the Knife Art Association, ready for next year. Hopefully we can get back into shows. And just to keep us going in caretaker mode until we can. So Keith Flutter put in a bunch of work organising presenters, including one Mr. Dmitry Popov of DP Custom Knives, Mr. Keith Flutter, myself, and Matthew Mewburn doing Damascus. Unfortunately, I didn't see any of the other demonstrations personally because I was giving one myself, but yeah, it went pretty well. It was hands on, so it was like come and grab a piece of steel or grab a piece of metal and participate in whatever the demonstration was if you want to, and if you don't, just grab a piece of steel and grind it or hit on it, because the shop there is just absolutely full of grinders and forges and anvils and just awesome. And yeah, someone here, Aaron Finn, says, "What a great lad." And I'm assuming you're referring to Matthew Mewburn for his excellent efforts there at Everly Works. If anyone's interested in doing a blacksmithing course or whatever, Everly Works is in Sydney, in Redfern, and Matt does a good job. It's the best blacksmithing workshop bar none in Sydney and probably Australia. So, and ever since the renovation, Mert, it's even better, isn't it?
It is the floors. Like the floors was the first thing I paid attention to. It was so nice.
There's an awful big investment in that concrete floor they've put in. It's huge. So it is obviously a Mervac development.
It wasn't bad
product.
before, but presses and yeah. You look at the giant presses and all the tools, and imagine it in its heyday, steam running everywhere and hot forges. And when you look at the forges, some of those forges are like a single car garage size.
They're huge, aren't they? Yes,
and
huge.
It's the stuff to lift it, the tongs, even the railing on top to be able to move one hot stuff from the forges to the presses, and it's incredible, man.
Yeah, no, it is. It's just such a wonderful workshop. We're blessed to still have it. Mervac Homes, or Mervac Development Group, we're planning on a range of changes to the site, which would have seen the long-term, at least severe reduction in blacksmithing on site. There's a Facebook group called Save the Everly Blacksmith. Save Everly. Those guys on there just put in a huge amount of effort to ensure that the shop remains, at least the working part of the shop remains working, and the rest of it remains preserved. We lost about half of the total overall shop, none of the working shop except for the annex. And it was a pretty good outcome, considering I reckon if Mervac wanted to close the whole thing, it's a huge amount of industrial real estate. Real estate. If they wanted to close the whole thing, they could have. And as it stands, we've preserved it for at least another few years. So, it's never going to be taken off the radar. So, because it's just Sydney real estate, and a blacksmith shop like that probably can't return commercial rents. So,
no,
yeah, it's an epic venue. So, Mert, what did you do any demos there? What did you do on the day?
Look, I didn't do any demos, but the significance of this event for me was I have a friend here, local, that I met. It's his daughter and my son go on the same daycare, and they end up befriending each other. And then I realized he was in the knife making. It was the first time I introduced him into a knife making event.
Is that so that you can set up? Is that so that you can set up a new form of daddy daycare?
No, but this friend of mine, his name is Cole. He's interested in knife making and all the other stuff, and I was really happy that I managed to get somebody introduced. I managed to introduce him to the knife making community. He met Core, and he met all the other usual suspects, and he also brought with him a couple 100 kilos worth of 1045. He was just giving it free to the people who will have a use for him, because he had no use for him. He had like 90 mil square 1045, and he brought a pallet in the back of his truck, and he was saying, if you can use it, go grab it. So if you want to make yourself a small post anvil and all that, it was nice. And he forged a little Swedish pattern hammer for him. It was so happy. It was great for me to see me introducing another person into knife making, another person to this community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the whole idea for me was just I just want to hang out. I wasn't in the state to be able to demonstrate because I've just been busy. And if you want to do a proper demonstration, you have to work on it. You have to create what do you want to teach. It also requires you to kind of work, and I didn't have time, so I didn't want to be doing half-ass demonstration, and I just want to bring my friend, and that's all I wanted. And I was so happy to see all the usual suspects and hang out with the friends, and that was a great day. That was a great event. Thank you to Matt again for hosting it.
I was sure I saw you doing a demo.
He was forging a sword.
No, I saw Mert turn a big long round of steel into some tin foil.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
On the power hammer.
Under the massive power hammer.
So,
yeah, look,
Frank,
Riley.
Yeah.
Riley gave me a piece of 5160, and I flattened my power hammer. My power hammer does all right, but I brought the steel with me because I know I want to use the 7 CVT or whatever that is, like the big ass motherfucking Massey. And all you have to do is like you're trying to control the feather, the pedal, and you're trying to push down, and while you feel the pedal and you see all sort of ram is starting to move too fast, like, oh no, it's gonna be trouble. And all of a sudden, that 1.5 inch stick of almost like 1.5 inch stick of 5160, you see like a ring, boom, boom. All of a sudden, it looks like a flat bar. That was interesting. Look,
and
after the first couple taps, I managed to get it under control, but when that shit hits, it hits.
Yeah,
it fucking flattens it.
It's so low to the ground as well, though. That, like, every time I see someone working that Massey, my back hurts just watching them because the bloody, I was watching that picture of you, man. You're like hunched right over. And I'm like, fuck, how can you even work that?
There were some old blacksmith fellas at the back. You're fucking too high. Yeah, I'm too high. I'm 194. And the anvil of the power hammer is set for my fucking knees. They're screaming for me, you're fucking too high. You gotta lower your stance. No shit.
So, but the funny thing about that power hammer is that the biggest power hammer there is nearly at least 5 times bigger, nearly 6 times bigger. A 40-100 weight, double arch. It's incredible. But anyway, the young Frank Lapino asked, why can't they heritage list it? And the answer is really simple, Frank. The whole building is heritage listed. So they're not allowed to do anything about the structure. Some of the assets in the building, like machinery, is heritage listed. So they're not allowed to destroy it. But everybody that's in the industry knows they don't have to let you use any of it. All they have to do is close it and turn it into a nice little cafe with big industrial features in the corners, like remove what they don't want. They're allowed to remove it and put it into indefinite storage out the back in the rain. Yeah. And they're not doing that. They're letting us use the site at least for a few more years. So you've got to be happy with what you can get, I suppose. It is what it is. Like, it'd be lovely to see all this shop preserved forever, but that's just, it's private property. It's not like that. So yeah, it is what it is. Our government have sold it. So what do you want?
You might get a Horge Jam cafe in there. Who knows?
Yeah.
Good work.
And this guy, Brad Stone, says, how do you guys feel when you pop someone's cherry into this knife making as a teacher or as well respected people in this community? Brad, I've popped thousands of cherries, and I love it. It's passionate. We're passionate about it. So it is what it is. But anyway, look,
unreal. It doesn't. That feeling doesn't change, though. It's just awesome.
Just watching people's eyes light up as they realise that not only can you turn a piece of steel into something beautiful, but they can turn something into something beautiful. That's what I really like. So I've been doing that for 10 years more, and it's wonderful. Guys, so I gave a presentation on making ferrules. So we had a couple of people make some ferrules to completion for barrel knives, and soldering. I was doing soldering, tin, so fine jewelry, fine work in bending and joining, and it came up really well. I don't know, people got some fair bit of good feedback. It's obviously ferrules aren't for everyone. There's only a certain number of there's only a few different knife designs that use ferrules, and they were, however, extremely popular.
What, Corin? I kind of disagree on that. I kind of disagree because if anybody was watching what you were doing, they should have gone all the light bulbs going off, thinking like, "Fuck, this is such a better method of me trying to get a whole piece of lump of bronze, brass, whatever, trying to grind it." Because I saw the class you were doing. I saw you had a little rounded piece of timber. You guys were rounding a piece of was it bronze or what was that?
We use bronze and nickel silver, but yeah, you can use anything.
Yeah, you guys were rounding a piece of bronze on the side of a rounded timber, and you were soldering it. Any smart knife maker should have said, "Fuck, this is the method I'm going to use because it's so efficient. You're not putting a big lump of metal in your bolster, and any knife maker, smart knife maker, should adopt that method."
Absolutely, mate.
I think.
Absolutely. So it's just another skill for the toolbox, you know. And that's the thing with knife making. There's really no limit to the metal casting or metal forming, jewelry work. Obviously grinding and forging, but there's so many different skills that woodwork and stuff that can be used in knife making. And I guess that's the fascination for us because we're only really limited, not by our current capabilities, but our willingness to learn something new. That's the only limiting factor.
Yeah, and time.
Yeah.
Getting stuck in that rut. Sometimes, like I said, especially with the full-time gig, there are many times when you just go, "Fuck, I wish I wasn't doing it like this." I could just pull back and learn how to do ferrules for, make a month of making ferrules. So you just repeat, and you've nailed the process. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen.
Yeah. No, that's it, mate. That's it. And you've got to have your failures, and it's all part of that learning curve. I really enjoy that. I think I've been trying to get the.
When I'm looking at the historical pieces, I see a lot of the ferrules being.
Sorry? What did you say?
We lost him? No, I think we've just lost his audio. I think he was saying, like a lot of these other guys, that where he lives, there's plenty of ferrules around. But unfortunately,
there's a delay.
Yeah, that's all right.
That's all right. Stephen Eads wants to make a barrel knife. Stephen, let me know when you're ready, and be more than happy to give you a rundown on what you need to know. And I have a couple of links I can send you that I've put up work in progresses and breakdowns and stuff, so you can see all of the intricacies of it. So anyone interested, it is what it is. It's just a different type of knife, and I certainly wouldn't claim to be the king of it, but it's all I've done for the last few years. So I guess.
Well, we've proclaimed you king anyway.
It's what I'm known for. Yeah. There'll be far more skilled people than me making stuff. So
yeah, you kind of are. Come on, Courtney, you kind of are.
Yeah, I kind of am. Yeah, whatever. All right. I'll
Oh, hang on. Corey Cunningham's asked what kind of solder. Silver solder, isn't it?
Yeah, I use silver solder, but that's a broad spectrum thing, all right. So it depends on the.
Well, it's funny when I talk to guys from US when we talk about the podcast. I show them your work. Yeah. And they're like, "Fuck, you must be a good maker."
Yeah, but I just fuck around and figure out different shit. It's not that I'm a really good maker at all. I'm not a good maker. I'm just a fucking and I fuck up just as many things as any beginner. I've been doing it for 20 years, don't get me wrong, but I don't do enough. So every time I make a knife, I'm relearning. I don't have the muscle memory or the skill. And
yeah.
I'm just fucking weary at the moment. I want to stop and take a few weeks just to make another one. And I'm not going to get to this year. It's just not going to happen. December's upon me.
I think there's a bit of delay
next year.
So here we go. Yeah, so that was Stephen Eads. I said that. What kind of solder was Corey Cunningham? So Corey, it depends entirely on what I'm soldering. My solders are normally silver based, and I normally go for high percentages of 45%, and that is normally cadmium free silver solder. That works really, really well for your nickel silvers and so forth. For bronze, you can get colored solders, but I still prefer really that the cadmium free 45%. And the silver, I use hard solder, and then I finish it off with the so there's hard, medium, and soft, I think it is, or easy in jewelry in silver work. And so there's 3 different alloys. So I'll do the first joint in hard solder, and I'll do the top joint in the low temperature solder, just so that don't melt the first one. But that's your that's basically what I use. So yeah, no big dramas there. Corey Cunningham also says, can you do a barrel knife with basic tools? The answer to that is definitely a resounding yes.
Yes.
Yes, you can. And I really don't use anything too complicated. You've worked in my shop, haven't you, Kev? I make my own. I just grind up a mandrel.
Yep.
There you go.
The most complex tool we used in your workshop when we were running through it was the mill, which you don't really need to use.
Definitely not.
And we used the lathe because we were being smart and wanting to make the little end cap.
Yes.
So we made that.
But you can do that on the drill press with a file.
I was going to say, yeah, that's it. You don't need to use a lathe for that.
It's only a very small thing, and there is a fair bit you can actually do with it. You can also cast it. You could also make it in 2 pieces, so that there'd probably be a half a dozen ways I could think of where you could make that just using a file and a piece of stock in a drill press, and then riveting it to a piece of sheet metal and into the holder. I could definitely think of a few ways. And
this one here we did a couple of years ago now with Thomas Gurner, the double-bladed one. But we even made the ferrules out of just a mandrel and some brass pipe. So we didn't even, and then we just soldered on the top section and used a drill and some files to do that. So with this, we didn't use anything complex at all. Like there was no real machinery, only a bloody, no, we didn't even know. We just drilled, and then hopefully we drilled in through the other end and hopefully met in the middle somewhere.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and I can give you some tips and tricks on how to meet in the middle. That is definitely not the easiest part of the process, but it's not insurmountable, and it's pretty easy to get it right if you really want to. I mean, I always look at the pyramids, and I think if the olden day fuckers can, with their alien technology, can build those, I can do stuff in my shed. And if you just sit down and think about it with that approach, you can do anything with files, right? So there shouldn't be any, you don't need any advanced tooling, and I don't use any. That hole that goes, for example, the hole that goes through the handle, which is square, is tapered front to back. I can't think of a way to do that other than doing that with simple tools. So a lot of people then make them not tapered front to back, and I'm not going to say if that's better or worse. I've never held one that was done that way. I'm sure everything can be done right, but yeah. Anyway, someone asked me, Andrew, how I got into it, and how that was on a forum called Bushcraft Oz, and I back in probably 2012, somebody posted up on there and said, "Hey, can someone make me a barrel knife?" And I was like, oh, wow, that's epic. I'm going to make one of those. I didn't want to make one for him, obviously, but I did want to make one. So I got in. I'm just trying to find the post so I can put it up, but I can't find it. I just, over the years, I was sort of tickled with it. And 2012, I started to make one. A couple of years after, it was probably 2010 or 11 where I saw the post and learned what a barrel knife was, and the rest is sort of history. And then I've been trying to make one a year ever since. Damien Cowper says, can I make a barrel knife out of carbon fiber and tie ferrules? And the answer is, of course, yes, you can. You can make it out of anything you like. Making the ferrules out of titanium would require some sort of welding or joining technique of titanium, for which I am no expert. But hey, like I said, balls and all, just get into it and have a go. If you know how to
be the first,
TIG titanium or join titanium, there's got to be a way to do it, because they do it. Then it can be done. And as Matt Snape says, no one had a lathe when they built the first lathe.
Or you can Do you think he can forge it with a mandrel?
Well, I think you can forge it with a mandrel. You probably could if you got some titanium pipe, and then you'd have to put a front cap on it. You just have to work it out. I don't know, but for sure it can be done. Anything can be done. There we go. In the olden day, fuckers can build pyramids. I can do anything with a file. Well, you can, Les. They didn't have iron tools. Like, for shit's sake. So, and look at like Machu Picchu and all that crap. Like, unbelievable. So you just got to have the right attitude. I'm a big believer in that. And talking to Seth Brundle before as well, like he's lost his fingers and he's back on holding a hammer. So just got the right attitude. Yeah.
5G aliens, bro.
He's probably in a better position than most when you'd say you need to have a loose grip on the hammer.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how it works.
I don't know. I'm impressed.
Yeah. So no, and so that went pretty well, and you can use any material you like. So for the ferrule, as long as you
sorry, man. Sorry. What a fucking dickhead.
Who's a dickhead? What are you doing?
What are you doing, man? You're not on mute, mate. He's probably... Oh, he's gone on pause again. Something. Your connection is not very good. Yeah, that's it. Oh dear. If you have a look at Adam Fromholtz, he's done a coffin style barrel knife.
He's done some great, and his steampunk one.
Jackson did a funky barrel knife out of fucking whatever it was, and all machined up with big fucking bronze ferrules and stuff. Basically, once you've got that base knowledge of how it all fits together, it's it's almost limitless. It's get the idea and work the idea out. How does this fit to this? Put them together and you're done.
Yeah, I don't have that level of creativity, so I'm just trying to make the old school style as best I can. So I just
I just love the old school style. I have to say,
the
modern stuff's cool, but it's like the old school stuff is just it's the bee's knees.
Yeah. No, nothing against those guys. They do some beautiful work. There's no question about it. Having Jackson in my shop that time, if people go back and go look for the interview with Jackson and Matt, Jackson and McVicker in the shop was such an experience. That was so good. They're such good makers, so creative and skilled. And Coles says, look up the Antikythera device and watch ClickSpring's videos about it. So that was built in about 3000 BC without any tools. And so, as you say, the most advanced material in its use was case-hardened wrought iron. And that is an absolute epic.
We got a storm here, guys. My internet is shit.
Yeah, we know, we can hear it. But that's okay, mate. That's okay. It's a pleasant change that it's not me for a change.
Yeah, we had our storm pass through already.
So Corey says, so it's a mix of knife making and tinsmithing. Well, yeah, just knife making, tinsmithing, jewelry. It is knife making, so whatever you want it. I mean, whatever. Richard Morgan wants to know what we have on the agenda tonight, other than just rambling on. So I love your enthusiasm, Richard. Richard, we very rarely have any agenda. That's because that's how we roll.
Yeah.
So you're in or you're not.
One of the things we had on the agenda item was something to do with...
I'm hearing you guys speak like really late.
What do you want to do, Mert?
He's going to fall over again. Yeah.
No, that's not cool. So Matthew, can you make them? Corin, you make them for the ASMR quality of the click, and that's exactly true. I really like the tactile nature of the.
I want the fucking storm pass so I can connect, because I hear you guys 30 seconds. I hear you guys like 30 seconds after the fucking conversation over. I jump in and
What do you want me to do, mate? Somebody voted for the opposition at the time. That one was putting in awesome fibre to the house at huge expense, but it would have been awesome. And here we are. I'm moving on.
Yes, that's it.
Dino Handsaker says, what are my thoughts on friction folders? Well, what's to say there? My thoughts are I love all knives, mate. So if you want to make a friction folder or a liner lock or whatever you want to make it, just make it. Yeah, friction folders are cool. Everything's got a place. And if,
pros and cons. Pros and cons. Friction folders are pretty quick and easy to make. Cons are they don't lock. You can fuck them up pretty easy as well in terms of making them. Most people who make friction folders when they first start out make them way too clunky and chunky. Don't know. But they don't involve a lot of tools. That's the other pro.
Absolutely. Anybody can make a friction. If you can make a fixed blade knife, you can make a friction folder. And I guess a lot of people get into it that way. Making barrel knives, like the mechanism inside the barrel knife, is basically a friction folder anyway. So, sort of.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Sort of.
Yeah. So there you go.
Well,
so yeah. Go.
Before I was just going to say before when Richard Morgan was asking what's on the agenda tonight, we've talked so much that we have to wipe out the fucking little chat that we had planned about big fucking redhead giants making stupidly obscene warhammers. So that's now off the cards, so we can move along from that.
We can. We're done.
We're done on that note.
So, yeah, the whole feral thing, like you can buy them as well. Like if you look on the internet, you can buy them, but the quality is shit, and they're not the right size, and you have to make the knife around the feral, and it just becomes another nightmare. Where if you make them yourself, you can custom make the feral.
And again, that's what we did with this one here, where we made the ferrule out of the brass pipe. We basically made the knife around the ferrule.
Yeah.
Because the ferrule size dictated what we had to do there. So if you can do that little thing, go for it. I mean, even if you got some place around you that does basic jewelry lessons, silversmithing lessons, just go and learn how to saw and solder two bits of silver together, and that'll be bloody awesome. That's the main thing. Yeah, that's a skill from what I saw with you doing it the first time at your place. That's the skill that needs to be learned. Like that fucking joins that you do are seamless.
Oh, but I gave away a lot of tricks that weekend, and I don't plan to give away anywhere else.
Yeah. Don't worry, I've forgotten it all. That's the nice thing about single malt.
I gave them away at Everly as well. I sort of showed how I file everything to perfect 45 degrees for matching up and stuff, and that was good. You gotta have your methods and your ways and so forth, and I'm happy to share with anyone that's interested in making. But a lot of this stuff I've sort of fucked around and figured out for myself, and a lot of it came from, as you said, silver work. A lot of it came from a guy by the name of Richard Van Dyke. So it's a shout out for Richard Van Dyke. I believe he's a fan of the show in north of the South Island of New Zealand. Richard is a goldsmith and silversmith by trade and a knife maker by profession. And stayed at my house prior to a symposium a couple of years ago and just went through the process with me and revolutionized my joints. Really did. I just head and leaps and bounds. And, obviously that was shared with me and I'll share it with anyone. So, yeah. So, Facebook user, go up the top and click on, if you've got getting that coming up when we display your
well, one of the other things, what were the other things that were demoed at the symposium, at the hammering? Because that's what we were talking about.
Well,
we just happened to talk about your ferrules. So what did Keith put on for everyone?
Keith did blade forging, so you could actually forge a blade. And like Cole said before, they had the forges set up on the front shelf of larger forges like the size of a truck, what they used to put steel in and out of. They had the little forges on top of the shelves at the front doors of those. It was pretty epic. And
that's unreal.
So he had people forging and helping them all day. Like, here's a guy that charges whatever $1,000 for a course, and he's there giving his time like Kevin, everyone else has done over time. But that hammering was like you were allowed to get hands on. Someone just asked, what about axe making for the next one? And the problem is, guys, that for hands-on hammering, we can definitely do axe making, but the symposium is probably a better venue for it, because making an axe can take, if you don't know what you're doing and you're working in a course, can take a couple of days, right?
Yeah,
depending on how many people in the course, what sort of axe, a proper axe, say just a little hatchet, a little wrapped eye hatchet or something, can take a couple of days. And so for an event like the symposium, that's really good, because you can get someone like mute yourself, knob fucker. Sorry, just popped out. It's not very professional, is it?
You thought it. You said it. I thought it.
So with an axe, someone like Mert, like
could
Kevin
we touch on
Saunders,
applying clay for hounds? Yes, let's do it.
Not yet. Shut up. We're talking axes.
there you go. I muted him. Fuck it. So making an axe, you get someone like Wayne Saunders, and Wayne will come up and knock out an axe in an hour and a half, and you can see the process and take notes and then go and try it. So yes, we could do an axe one for the next one. I'm certainly not ruling it out, but yeah, the symposium pretty much every year has one on axe making. So that's a good place to go for that. Harmons. Let's talk about Harmons. You guys, I've never done a Harmon. I've never applied clay, and I've never done it. So you two, you're on.
Is Mert off mute now?
I think he's sticking his finger up at me, but you'll go.
I think he's still got that delay.
He does. He's lagging. You go anyway. You talk about Harmons, because you do some nice Harmons.
Yeah, well, when they're talking about clay, there's a whole bunch of different theories out there that people. Well, me.
Oh, right. I'll move
Go, Mert.
Oh, my fucking God. This is just going to get painful. We'll call him in. Can you hear us, Mert? For those listening on the podcast, Mert is swinging a sword at his internet connection.
He's got some rain happening there, which is causing shit with his internet. Anyway, he'll interrupt me again. But when you have a look around at what people are doing, Instagram, Facebook, all the rest of it.
There's a massive delay, guys.
There is a massive lag, guys. No, there is a lot of techniques that people use to apply clay. What I do is probably different to what Mert does.
Oh, fuck me.
Which is probably different to what someone like Will Morrison does. And it really is, with W2 and clay and Hamons, it really is a case of have a go. There's a document out there. It's on the old Australian Blade forums. Go and have a look for it. It goes through, it's posted by Sean McIntyre. It goes through the entire heat treating process to get the best chance at getting a good Hamon from the steel. So there's a whole lot of shit that you got to do before you even worry about putting fucking clay on that steel. Clay on the steel, it's not just a case of whoever the Facebook user is, normalize clay then heat treat. There's a little bit more to it than that. That's the real dot point version. And then you need to break down your normalizing, and you need to break down your clay, and then you need to break down the heat treating into different things. So my process is probably much different to other people's around there. Also depends on the steel that you use. You know, we had a lot of people saying that they couldn't get Hamons out of the W2 that Gorham was selling. I got no fucking problem with it. I got no problem with it at all, to be honest with you. The last one that I did, that called it the Dark Hamon chef knife that I made, that was out of stock that I bought off you guys, buddy, a long time ago, and I've just started dragging it back out and using it again. So there's a lot of stuff. The documents, I can't even remember what it's called, but it's posted by Sean McIntyre on the old Australian Blade forums, and he goes through, and he got it off someone else, and it just dot points everything you need, temperatures and everything to do it. So have a crack at it and experience the highs and lows that the rest of us that do Hamons go through. I apply my clay like it's almost like a muffin batter mix, and I apply it reasonably thick, I guess. Then you look at someone like Will Morrison, paints it on with.
What clay are you using?
Sorry, I use Satanite.
Yeah.
Satanite's kind of, I guess, in Australia, almost the industry standard for when you're going to clay a blade. If you want to go and make your own clay out of blending up kitty litter with other sorts of fucking stuff, go for it. Go for it. But you're going to be in a world of your own doing that sort of stuff. Use what works. Satanite is one of the better ones. And just, you got to have a play around with it. And then, fucking, what's his name? I just had metal like Sam Erskine's one to go and have a look at. He came and did a course with me, and we've talked a lot about the Hamons, and he probably posts up more about the successes than not. And then he will send me, when he's had a bit of a failure, he'll send me a picture of the knife and tell me what he's done. And sometimes it's like the answer really is, fuck knows, mate, I don't know, have another go. And sometimes the answer will be, I can see straight away, your temperature was too hot, or you didn't have the heat through the blade enough. There's a massive amount of variables in there, and it takes a fair bit of time to get confident enough, kind of where I'm touch wood bordering on now, where I can say, I'm gonna smash out a Hamon, kill a Hamon every time I quench one of those blades. And I've almost put money on it.
We get it all the time where even experienced makers will say, fuck, I just can't get them to pop at the moment. And they've changed something in their process maybe, or maybe the steel has changed, because W2 has a huge variance in its.
There's variables in there.
But you go. I say that with hesitation because everyone blames the steel first, and regardless of W2's variables, you should be able to get a hum on. You just need to vary your process to suit it. So 26C3 though is now available. So Cole will be able to point you in that direction when you can give that a go. So it has a tighter, it's more like the Hitachi White, and so it's got a much tighter spec. So we've got that in stock as well.
The other person to go and have a look at it, of course, is Ian Stewart.
Oh yeah.
I even got to the point where my Hamons, and we talked about this quite a few episodes back now, about when you start getting comfortable in your practices and things start working for you, you start to drop shit off the menu. Like if Mert was making a cake, for example, nailing it all the time, he might skip an ingredient here and there. And that's what happened with me when I was doing it. And then I looked at what Ian Stewart was doing, and I'm like, hang on a second, I've got to go. I've missed something. And I took 3 steps back, found that document, because I was working off pretty much the same one that he made reference to. And when I went back and read through it, I was like, shit, I become so complacent because I was getting good results that I wasn't getting fantastic results anymore. And it was my fault because I dropped some of the processes out of the way. I've gone back to that now, and I'm actually doing, I'm working on a different method of getting Hamons, which seems to be working. And that's as far as I'm going to go with that. It's working.
So Dean Anderson says he's got the Satanite, it just doesn't stick.
Okay. So if he's talking about the Satanite sticking, clean your blade. I would clay mine at 320, probably a rough 320 on a disc. Clean the shit out of that blade. Apply your clay onto it, and then I bake. It's not necessary a lot of the time. I then bake mine in my tempering oven at 150 degrees for 20 minutes, and that cooks that fucking clay on, and it won't come off until you quench it. And even then, you probably got to scrub it off with a brush to get it clean. So I think that's it, mate. Is clean your blades. make sure there's no contaminants in the satenite. The other thing is when you make your satenite up, if you make a bigger batch, don't just chuck it in the bin. Let it dry out, rehydrate it next time, and you can continue to use it.
So yeah, and let it dry fully. I believe that's a big.
That's why I bake mine. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right. Yeah, sure. So Les says Harmons are very popular at the moment. They've been popular, mate, since about the 7th century, but that's okay. And I appreciate the skills required to do it properly. Having said that, one may ask, why are they doing it? A visual Harmon on a blade that just doesn't warrant one makes no sense. The Harmon is a differential quench, meaning to enhance the performance of the knife for a given use. Doing a different quench on a knife that doesn't warrant it is counter to true artisan work. Well,
not really.
No, not really. I would disagree. I would disagree because a differential quench or a differential temper, there's lots of ways of doing it. A Harmon is just one, and a Harmon is a differential. It's not a differential quench so much as a differential rate in a single quench. So speed in it. So I guess it kind of is, but it kind of isn't. I would suggest to you, mate, that there aren't too many knives that don't benefit from having a softer spine and a hard cutting edge. And that's been there. I can't think of anything, but I'm just maybe not creative enough. So maybe a pen knife or something. But even then, if somebody uses it as a pry bar, it's going to be better at a pry bar if the spine is softer. So it's a very common practice to draw the temper out of a spine. And that's different to a Harmon, but has a similar effect. Yeah, what are your thoughts, Kev?
Yeah, look, I'm a big fan of Harmons, and there's those that are very calculated, like Jan Hafenek, that does the flames and stuff, and he's using that Goss UA 10 or whatever it is. Yeah, skulls and sort. That stuff's just fucking visually amazing. Like that's awesome. Then there's other guys like Mark Weinstock or Prick Blades doing a bit of like. He influences me a little bit with more of that earthy, like just natural explosion of the Harmon on there. And part of the thrill in doing it for me is controlling where it is going to end up. Because you see a lot of guys, and I've talked to a lot of guys that have, they've had a go at it, then they come back and they say, oh, the hardened part's only 5 mil at the bottom of my blade. What am I doing wrong? And then that opens up the book to, well, what did you start with? What did you do? All the rest of it. But to me, it's just like, I love the look of a crazy looking freaking Harmon on a knife. And I don't really think there's any knife I've seen where it doesn't suit in some way or form. But that's, again, personal preference for me because I like doing Harmons.
So when there's a question on the screen. Is a straight line differential hardening line really a Harmon, or does a Harmon really need more activity to be classed as a Harmon? So I think to answer this question, I think technically you need to be a Japanese swordsmith because that's where the Harmon was born and created. And a Japanese sword connoisseur can look at the Harmon on a sword and tell you who made it and what century, right?
Yeah.
So it varied that much. So some of them did have straight lines, and then they went for activity, and then they went for undulating lines and patterns. And I've got a Japanese sword book somewhere which goes into these different styles of Harmon and who developed them and why they did them. And typically it was done for aesthetic reasons. The Harmon was part of the artistry of the sword. It was a painting on your temper. I don't think there was any reason for it. But it's different. I definitely, a Harmon is done with clay. A differential quench, which is where you just quench the edge of the blade, is not really a Harmon. It's a quench line. Even though the two processes are made basically by a similar thing, the Harmon is made with clay. I think that's my understanding. Kev, you know more about it than me anyway.
Oh, this is the age-old argument, mate, really, but I'm kind of like you.
Well,
I call
Corin,
go for it.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Oh, fuck me. I wish I couldn't. Come on, Mert. Can you hear us?
You got the 30-second delay going again, mate. It's that age-old argument again, Corin, with the calling it a temper line or a Harmon. I'm still old school and differential heat treat is a temper line, something that's done to get that activity with an applied process is a Hamon.
Yeah, absolutely. So Barry Kennedy comes in with another one which says tempered martensite is stronger than perlite. So in theory, it is better to draw back the spine rather than clay or edge quench.
So when you look at the Japanese sword,
oh my God,
you to understand.
That's about a minute lag.
I'm talking. There's 20 fucking seconds.
No, it's about a minute. He's going to hear that in a minute. Should we wait for it?
No, he's gone again. Sorry, Matt. That internet of yours is shit tonight.
At least a minute.
That was a minute. That was a good minute.
So Barry Kennedy,
topics.
So Barry Kennedy is a journeyman smith, right? And with the ABS, and he's a great maker. If you don't know Barry, check out his work. Check out his Instagram. Does absolutely epic stuff. Now, Barry was saying that tempered martensite is stronger than perlite. So in theory, it's better to draw back the spine rather than clay or edge quench. Yeah, you're probably right. And then there comes bainite as well, but we won't go there. So you're probably right. But a Hamon is certainly a way of doing it. We're not looking for the one true way of doing anything, right?
Yeah.
So and I've got to be honest with you, fucking Hamon looks magnificent. So, and it works. It may not be the 5% stronger or something, but it's definitely functional, and and it's worked for not just a couple of years either. It's been for thousands of years. So you're probably right that it's better. I don't know, and I can't comment on it, but it's definitely I think it's definitely a valid process. It's not something that fucks up the blade. So yeah.
It's to me the way I put it on there, it's an embellishment. It's something there to get that visual stimulation. It's something to draw that person's interest to my knife over someone else's knife. I could have the same W2 blade without a Hamon next to the one with the Hamon, and I know that someone's going to look more interested in the one with the Hamon.
I have a book there on Japanese Hamons, but anyway,
I've got someone around here somewhere too, actually.
Yeah. So anyway, that's all right. It's just it appeals to me as something I want to try at some point, but just my life at the moment just not really conducive to it. Okay, Aaron Barry says, yeah, Hamons look awesome, no doubt about it. We totally agree there. So it comes down to that. Are you making the best knife for a journeyman smith test, or are you making an aesthetically pleasing knife that's going to do the task for which it was intended? And
fuck, I tell you what, none of my journeyman smith knives, when I get around to bloody doing the journeyman smith knives, will have a fucking Hamon on it, no matter how confident I am of getting that, precise clay layout done. I'm going clean on those things. I'd still use actually, I probably wouldn't even use W2, because the off chance that you get those little, the auto Hamons on there, and you try and sand that shit out, and all of a sudden, you got this unintentional looking cloudy blob down near the ricasso somewhere. That to me, I've thought about it long and hard. Don't worry, because the last lot of hunters I made, the Hamons came out exactly where I had the clay, and I was like, I think you're just fucking playing with fire, ha ha ha. If you wanted to do that, big ball sack, bigger ball sack than I've got. If you do that.
Aaron Finn says, I'm curious, can you do a Hamon with RTZ wash coat? I'm not going to, and I'll follow my 2 cents in on that. Cole Barrett's done that heaps of times. But, however, I'm going to just say this. The biggest problem I have with people using anything other than Satinite, W2, and K-Quench, Horton's K-Quench, is if you don't vary those 3 of the many, 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 many variables that are out there, those 3 are not your problem. you can then play with your temperatures, your quench temperatures, your temperatures. You
Yeah.
can do all of that, and you know that it's not those three variables. If you start experimenting with other things, do so after you've got the hang of it. That would be my take on it. So, yeah, Cole says you can. I have no doubt you can. You can use other things as well, but if you're not sure, you're just wasting steel and time, and it's just a waste of steel and time. And good luck to you. But don't come to me and say I used your steel and it didn't work because it probably wasn't the steel. It was probably whatever it was you bunged on your blade. That's it, really. I know it sounds a little bit, but harmons are such a fucking voodoo art. So many variables, as Kev said. They really are.
And when you get it right, either write down what you've done or keep using the reference material that you've used to get your Hamon, because it's the same sort of thing. Is like, don't change your fucking processes too much.
No.
And having said that, I've changed my processes a little bit lately because I had something occur unexpectedly on a different thing, which I've started experimenting with, and it seems to be working.
Yeah. You're gonna. Is that...
No, not saying anything until I've nailed it down 100%.
No worries. So, The Art of the Japanese Sword is a great book. There, it's goes into the different processes about Harmon, and it's a nice little book there. So if anyone wants to get that, you can buy that. I haven't
So
read it.
Richard Morgan's trying to be a smart ass a couple down, saying, Kev, should I try a Hamon on a W2 war axe? Absolutely.
That's the same thing. Brett says the same thing.
And a long while ago, I tried to do a Hamon on one of Ian Stewart's competition axe heads.
Oh, really?
Let's just say that there was much more heat retained in that axe head than I'd planned for, and it was interesting to see K-Quench explode into a massive fireball that needed some drastic measures to put out because it had about 3 kilos of fucking 800-degree steel suddenly jammed in it. It didn't like it. So yeah, control your heat treat. Don't have anything really flammable around where you are, because if you're doing an axe head, that's a fucking lot of hot steel to quench. You might even be better actually just going for an auto Hamon, or like almost differential heat. Run the heat color up gradually up the axe face, and then quench that and go for an auto Hamon.
I've got one on my Damascus axe. Yeah.
Nice.
But this book goes into the different types of Hamon, from straight right through to different patterns and when they were made and everything. Look at that. Maybe I should read it.
I've done a lot of stuff, just being curious about adding things to the clay, putting other things on the blade, and then putting the clay over it. And I haven't had much success in any of the stuff that I've been playing around with, but every fuck up teaches you a lesson. Stick to the stuff that works is the biggest lesson. That'll be it.
Les says he agrees about Harmons, and it's good that we're back on topic and not hanging shit on it. Look, honestly,
come on.
That's unfair. We wouldn't hang shit on our friend Mert. That's not.
Better chime in about 10 minutes to have a bit of a retort over that.
He'll chime in, and we'll have to wait a minute to hear what he says, but that's okay.
Then he'll swing his sword at the thing.
It's all good. No, Harmons are all voodoo magic, and I mean, I love a good Harmon, and that guy that uses that Russian guy that does the skulls and shit. He's still
Jan Havnik. Yeah, man. No.
I've had a natural Russian speaker chasing that steel for me, and I can't get it. So it's fucking driving me back.
I think it was only today he put up on his either a story on Instagram or a series of posts how he applies that clay and then gets those Hamons, and you're just like, I was just sitting there, just it has, and you hate to say it, but it has to be the steel that he's using that is letting him get such detail on that shit, because it's what he paints on is coming off. Anyway,
I can't tell
he's a
you.
legend. No, he's a legend.
And there's a guy that nailed in his process, and so there you go.
And like I said, the other guy that I would look a lot at, I like his style because it's not definitely not the same as mine, but there's parts of his style that look a lot like mine. Is that Mark Weinstock prick blades? Greg Sims, Barry Kennedy's put up Greg Sims over in the US. He's pretty awesome as well. Yep.
So look, there you go. That's a bit on Harmon. So that's such an interesting subject. I think we use the word in a non-traditional way. So it's a Japanese word, and we're probably even saying it wrong because on account of I just can't say anything really right in Japanese because I haven't really tried, I suppose. But
yeah, you can. I know you can. Biro.
Biro. 2 biro. 4 biro. 4. I want 4 biro. That really fucks them up. That does. 4 biro. No. Anyway, never mind.
Yes, that's it.
We got to do a knife making down under trip to Japan again because
hell yeah,
awesome. We got to go to Seki Knife Show when this shit opens up. I'm going to do every fucking knife show. There's a knife show in Spain I want to do too. I found a Cutlass Fair. Sounds pretty good.
In Spain?
Yeah, I haven't been to Spain.
Yeah, right. My wife's family are over from Spain, so could be interesting.
Could be good, mate. Can you imagine us in Spain? Si, senor. For El Biro.
There's yeah, but cerveza, por favor. But we'd be talking about jamons, and they'd just be cutting lengths of shreds of fucking ham off the bone for us because jamon is ham over there.
Yeah,
not
right.
prosciutto, so that'd be fine.
That'd be awesome. Okay, so here's a good question. Great, good on you, Brad. Thanks for giving us something to talk about. Love your work.
You.
Well done. Brad Stone. There you go. Brad says, "What are the New Year goals, boys and boys?" I was going to say and girls, but
Mert's not here. Yeah, no, that one down.
You're going to see this in a minute, and when you do, it's too late.
Yeah, he's already crying. He's still crying over the last thing.
All right, so the New Year's goals, Kev, what are they?
Oh, look, to be honest with you, I'm not really one to do too much in terms of the goal setting. Every time I've done the goal setting, it's shit's fucking hit the fan, especially in the last couple of years. And so all I want to do next year, I guess it's the goal will be to have a year where knife making runs smoothly. I get the finished results that I'm after. Classes go well. And in the capacity of also being both a full-time knife maker and the president of the Knife Art Association, the goal would be to get shows back in Australia. That's the goal.
We have
Pretty
our
simple.
first. Sorry, I'm going to come back to mine because we have our first spam commenter. We have our first spam commenter trying to rip off our listeners.
Yeah.
Love. You are a idiot. I can't say what I probably can. You're a fucktard. There you go. I've said it. Okay, block user. Boom.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
See you later, Cuz Love.
Good luck, Cuzzy Love.
He's got one there for Cole Barrett too.
Yeah,
he's gone crazy. He's just doing to everyone. Get rid of him.
Oh my fucking lord! Where is that coming from? Tell me what group that is, people. I got some. Oh my god.
Cuz Love. Good on you, you wanker. How about you just?
Yeah. How about yeah. Everyone get on Cuz Love and share some hate. There we go. Get rid of them. Block user. I've done it already. Delete comment. Righto. I'll just clean up the comment section. Sorry, guys. Hopefully for us it'll work better. It probably isn't going to work better for you. It's probably in the group. We'll have to go and tidy up later. But anyway, you get that.
Yeah, that's all right. We'll get rid of that wanker.
My goals for 2020. Got to get my shit together, get into a better headspace, and my kids are getting older. I want to spend a bit more time with them, because there's not like I'm not going to have a lot more time to spend with them. And yeah, get back into just the social shit. That's really where what I'm missing. Going to shows and I miss it because it's been something that we've done since day dot. Really, yeah.
It's been the biggest. I think it's been the biggest impact on people. Well, for me especially, this year is lacking that periodical social thing where you catch up with all your mates, get pissed, have a knife show, and just have that awesome laugh. That is a big part of what's missing. So that's what I was saying. The goal would be to get knife shows back into play for the sake of us and our sanity, really.
That's it, mate. That's it. And just I've got to give Andrew his knife back too. And Kazi Love apparently is a prince in Nigeria. Good on you, Andrew. I've got Andrew's barrel knife. I've got it engraved, and I just want to give it to him in person rather than put it in the postal service.
Good trip down to Tasmania.
Yeah.
Load up on some island specialty timbers. Too easy.
So there you go. Kev for PM. There you go.
Oh, I don't know about that. We've already had one Kev in the seat, but I'll guarantee you I won't be speaking Chinese. Oh, that's funny. For me, anyway, yes.
Well, dude, putting the hard word on me to buy some funky Damascus from overseas. I think that's Cuzzy Love.
Oh, good on him. Yeah.
Good on you, Julie.
Please note the only dodgy bastards trying to sell you shit are right here in front of you talking.
Somebody asked me the other day, what are we trying to sell in our live broadcasting? And I just really want to be clear about this, everybody. The competition is you've got to figure that out. I don't know.
Yeah, if you figure that out, you've already won.
This isn't really a sales thing. It's just about us just talking about stuff that we do. So here we go. Here's a one from Chris Rosendale. It's a good one for you, Kev. It says, can you please go over what happens on a basic knife making course at your workshop from day one to finish and knives on the next day, or to finishing the knives on the next day?
All right. Well, normally it's an evening before, if you can be here, and that way we meet, greet, have a beer or red wine or something, talk about the processes, show you the workshop, run you through all the tools that you're going to use, and then go through an outline. The outline would be that on day one, depending on the knives that you've selected to make, you'll get in the morning, they'll be cut to a what we call a pre-shape, and then we have the forge fired up, and I guide you through the processes of, forging out that steel. Depending on what you make, the techniques change slightly between kitchen knives and hunting knives. Not a lot, really. Forge 2 knives. Then we move into the profiling stage of those knives. So you're either using knives that I've got on hand as templates, or I show you about using French curves and straight edges and all the rest. And things to consider in terms of design for use. So edge geometry and stuff. Do the profiling, set your blades up to go through the grinding process, which I do with the block method, and I adjust the angles of my platens based on trigonometry to do the grinding. It's a pretty good tried and true method. It's done by Paul Aristan, who teaches. A few other guys do that block method, and it was shown. I think Ian Stewart did it at one of the events. So grinding bevels, lay in the grinds for pre-heat treat, fix up things like shoulders for tangs, because most of the time on my courses we're doing hidden tangs. Day one in the afternoon, you come back from a beautiful barbecue lunch that I put on. There's another plug. And we do things like handle selection and then prep of all the handle work. And at the very end of the day, you guys have a cold beer, and I get sweaty in the forge, and I heat treat the blades and get the people to watch the process, because I've had a couple of times where people have not really done what I've asked and come out with really bent blades. I chuck them in for the tempers overnight when you guys leave, and then the next day you come in, I'll have ground the edges down. That's the risky part. So I do the most work that I do on your knives will be the post-heat treat grinding cleanup, so and a bit of stuff on the disc, really to save time, so that you guys come in and pretty much jump into 320 and 600 grit. Handles then get fitted and glued, have lunch, come back, and then I've got like a 5 or 6 step process for shaping handles, and I ran through that at the symposium earlier this year, and a lot of people have that were there at that time have taken on those techniques and done pretty well with them, actually. So, Chris, that's a really, really like quick run through. There's a spiel on my website which I've got to update. I've left it pretty stagnant. It may embellish a little bit of what I've talked about, but it's about 10 hours each day of pretty hard, solid work, and out of that you come out with not only 2 awesome knives, but 2 the processes that I do for my own knives are exactly what I show you guys, and I do as little as I can. Most of the time I try and make a small demo knife along with you guys so that I can do all of the hands-on demo steps using something that's not your knife as well. The only time I ask people on my courses is if they get stuck, ask for help, and I'm there to help out. That's part of my job. So, yeah, real brief rundown. That's the basic sort of knife making course. For people that have done a bit more knife making and might want to do Hamons or whatever, I can tailor a course to do Hamons, run you through the processes like most of the guys. The only thing I say, look, I'm down in Canberra. I'm doing my thing. If you like what I'm making, that's a good indication of what you're going to sort of learn to make. Or if you just, you're kind of like me as a character from being on here, that's probably another positive. I've just I've got to put up a page full of the comments from the people who've been on my course, testimonials, and I've just sent out an email to about a dozen people that are previous attendees of the course, and I've got back some pretty cool feedback actually. So Matt's missed out because when he came down, I didn't give him any beer, and I've recently upgraded to a nice burr grinder espresso coffee machine, and Matt was just getting pods. So Matt, yes, I owe you beer and I owe you coffee. But yeah, with knife making, like I said, look out for, watch what you see the people that are teaching, watch what their students are producing for a start, and if it's consistent, look at that and go with the person that you like what they're doing. Paul Aristan is a really good teacher up in Queensland. He does completely different styles to me, but his stuff is pretty awesome. And he's been doing it a while and is very good at what he's doing. There's a bunch of other guys teaching around the place. Like I'm not the only one doing it. I do put my hand up across, hand on heart and say I think I'm one of the better ones out there at least, because I've been doing it for a long time, and a lot of the feedback I get comes back about that passion to do what I'm doing. It's all just part of it, really. So yeah. Thank you. Good
solid answer. So in the meantime, Cole has been trying to spam the spammer to sell them some CPM steels. So we'll see how he goes with that. I don't know that they use much of that in wherever they are, but yeah, we've got a whole bunch of new CPMs on the shelf. So yeah, good luck selling them to them, Cole. CPM 110, CPM 10V, CPM 20 CV. So if anybody wants anything like that, they're all new and probably won't last that long. We have 5 pallets of steel coming, so it's all happening.
Kev, I was talking.
Never gave me any beer.
I'm reading some of those comments on there. I'm going through in my head answering them. Yes. Yes, you can have beer on the Friday night when you come here, because it's always nice to have a beer and a chat. Yes, you can have beer at the end of the day when I'm heat treating, because you're not sticking steel into hot oil. And if you have a beer on Sunday, that's on your head if you've got to drive home. But most of the time it's a beer or two, definitely at the end of the day on a Saturday, especially in summer. because it gets bloody hot. And I'm envious of you guys. As soon as that last blade's quenched, wiped, and stuck in the temper oven, I'm cracking one of those stubbies or tinnies, mate, and I'm with you. It's
Beautiful.
Definitely good time. Summer sucks to do. Admittedly, summer really sucks to do teaching. Like I said, we were doing the Damascus making day. It was like 35, which was fairly mild. It was 35 outside, and I had plastic bits falling off the ceiling because they were melting. So
Fun time. So Les Batchelor says, I'd love to find someone that teaches making liner locks in Victoria. Who does that? Zach Chong probably doesn't teach, but he makes great frame locks and probably liner locks too. I can't remember.
You could probably get Dom to possibly.
Dom might be interested. You might be worth driving up to Canberra and doing one with Alistair.
He doesn't do liner locks, but I was learning to do liner locks on my last visits to the US, but when I ground half my thumb off, that sort of put about 14 months of no feeling in the thumb to twist the screws on and off. And when you do liner locks, there's just a lot of fucking put them together, pull them apart, put them together, pull them apart, and it's a repetitive. I love them, but it's just a really repetitive. Put it together, test fit this, do this next step, put it all together, pull it apart. I remember being over at Bill Burke's with Bruce Barnett, and he was doing a liner lock, and he was just like shaking his head, going, "Fuck, give me a fucking slip joint any day of the week." And I found that interesting because I thought slip joints must be a lot harder, but there's the frustration of having to put it together, do up 9 screws, and they're like size 1x72 thread count screws, pull all that shit out, keep them in the exact same order. It's possible that in 5 years' time I might teach a liner lock class, but I've got to finish the 5 that I haven't finished yet.
Yeah. Yeah. So, who does do liner locks? Who can we think of?
Well, the only person that I would know that would potentially do a liner lock that's like Dunham of that caliber would be Bruce Barnett, but I'm sure that he'd have a wild fit and tell you to bugger off and do a slip joint anyway.
Yeah. Well, anyway, if anybody knows anyone, put them in the comments. We'll share them. That's good. Fuck you, Brett Selly, says Matt Snake. Well, that's fair enough. Brett says, isn't your classroom air conditioned, Kevin? I think that's a dig at you, Kevin.
I have an air conditioner down in my garage waiting to be installed into my workshop, but I'm waiting to extend my workshop before I install the air conditioner because I'm not sure which room I want it in.
Fair call. Now, Owen Ward says, I'm kind of in two minds about making them. I think for the maker, I think a frame lock just cuts out the middleman.
Frame locks are. I think when you have the frame lock, you sometimes miss out a bit on those embellishments in your knives. Like you want to have a look at the best person that I reckon that's doing the liner lockers in the world would be Rick Dunkley. You're going to have a look at Rick's stuff, and he's who I learned my first one from a couple of years ago. You have a look at what Rick does, and when you've got a liner lock, you've got 2 sides to put all your stuff on with a frame lock one side. And I'm not saying they're bad. I love the work that Tim Kingsford's doing. I love the work that Zach Chong and Dom and all them are doing. But frame locks for me, Ali's doing some nice frame locks. Like Ali Bastian's up on the
Ali Bastian says Carl Truscott. Ali Bastian is probably, Ali's work is sensational.
Oh, yeah. 2 down there.
I just don't know.
Of course.
Barry Kennedy, yeah. I just don't know. I'll get to that one. I just don't know that Ali would teach a course. But great guy to look up and follow and ask him. I mean, it's not up to us to tell you. No. Barry Kennedy, he can teach, but he very rarely has time. That's cool. Barry's in rural New South Wales.
Because Barry went over and did one of the courses with Bill and Rick. I forgot about his ones because Rodney Hawes done some bloody photo edits of them.
I probably have some pictures. Yeah, I probably have some pictures there, but I just couldn't be bothered looking for them tonight. Sorry, Barry.
Bad luck, Barry. Hey, get on and look at Barry's work yourself, everyone.
Rick Dunkley, he says his system is awesome, so that's cool.
Oh yeah, it is. And you can buy, if you really want to, you can buy DVD, how-to DVDs from Rick. And I bought a couple off him, and they're pretty fucking well produced. Like you could follow them. You could follow them without too much trouble, I reckon.
So they reckon it's Bobby Smith's birthday, and they want us to buy him a grinder. So
well, isn't that what Q Voss or whatever his name was trying to raise money for before, and we just blocked him?
Probably.
Cuzzy Love.
Cuzzy Love. A stupid fucking name. You can hear us. We know you can. Cuzzy Love. All right. So yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'm with you on the liner locks. Happy birthday, Bobby. As Les Batchelor says, totally agree. I'm with you on the liners. I think it really makes a classier knife.
Yeah.
I get the whole, I get the frame lock, but the liner lock gives a classier look. So you got nice scales on both sides. So happy days.
Yeah.
Eric Markman's waving his hand at you, Kev, from Sweden.
Hey, how are you, mate? Good to see you again. Eric does some really fucking nice, very clean, integral hunters with the synthetic handles on them, like real clean. So you need to go and follow Eric on social media. His knives are awesome. What else we got to talk about, mate? We can hear the bells chiming in the background.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, bedtime, but that's all right. Yeah,
I'm probably not far from it, mate. I've had a long week. Like
I started this morning at 4 o'clock, and yeah, I've got a day tomorrow, so yeah.
Yeah, I've got to get up early tomorrow. I'm on. As I said earlier, my wife had a small surgery, and she's not allowed to lift much, drive, do anything really. So I'm on chauffeur duties early tomorrow morning for a few things.
So Facebook user is saying Timmy time. Look, I'll be honest with you. If Timmy's not on by 10, he's probably in bed.
Yeah,
he's not and he comes to work the next day. Fuck. So it's kind of good if he gets on as close to 8:30 as possible, so he's not all tired and eel faced during the day.
And not shipping out the wrong orders to people.
So yeah, Timmy time. Timmy's doing a great job there. He's good work. So happy days.
Well,
but not tonight probably. And
we could do a brief Timmy time, which we would like Timmy to talk about. Is Gameco have got pallet loads of really cool, awesome new steel. Is it in or is it coming in?
Oh, there's heaps coming. It's just shipping delays and stuff for everybody.
Yeah.
So
keep your eyes peeled.
We can't get stuff. It's just a pain in the ass.
Keep your eyes peeled, people, because there's some really cool steels coming into Gameco shortly. That 26 C3 is on the shelves. Mert, if he was on here, would be raving about how good it is, and getting really good Hamon results. Part of the reason I'm driven to get back into my W2 Hamons is because Mert was saying use 26C, C3, whatever it is, because you get better results. I'm like, fuck you, I've got $700 worth of W2 in the garage. Fuck you, group buys.
Yeah. Oh, well.
I remember on one of those group buys, I was like, I'll have 10 bars of that and 10 bars of that without even thinking. And then it was like, oh, man, that's like $900 worth of steel.
Matty Mewburn calls that steel hopes and dreams. He said everyone's got a pile of hopes and dreams in the corner. I'm like, I don't know.
So go down, Cole's 2 down, Cole's got the Nitro V, D201, CPM 10V, S110V, 20CV, 440C, all in stock now. That's a variety of steel. Look at that. Plenty of letters and numbers there to keep everyone entertained.
We've got heaps of other stuff as well, I might add. That's just that's
it.
Came in.
I've
Chris Rosendale said, how did Cyber Monday sale go? Well, we swamped the warehouse. It was pretty epic. Yeah, it was.
It was good.
A lot of orders went through, and we appreciate everyone's support. It's been a tough year, and I know we've been in and out of running on time and running behind, but we are continuously improving. And if you look at what's happened this year over every other year, there's no way I could have forecast this level of growth. There's just no way I could have forecast what happened this year. So for that, I am I am not sorry. I'm appreciative. I'm appreciative that we got so much support this year. A lot of stuff that was sitting on the shelf disappeared. They've been there for years. And yeah, it's all happening. And as Cole says, we've got 1.5 ton of 1075 getting water jet cut right now. Guys, we don't do a thing.
Did you save me any big sheets? No, probably not.
Cole?
Call them up and tell them not to cut those.
Brett Selly wants L6 or A2, so yeah, good on you. So yeah, the 1075, all of our steel guys, I want to be really, I can get stuff from China tomorrow. No problem. We don't do that. All our steel comes from the best mills we can find in Germany, Japan, Sweden, America, France, comes from all over the world. And I'm not saying Chinese is rubbish. I'm just saying that we specialize in the high-end steel. And I like to say to the team, I don't say it anywhere else, I typically say to them all the time, we don't want to sell cheap steel so our customers can make cheap knives. There's no business in that, right? There's no future in not having been able to get proper reputable spec sheets from reputable mills that are the best in the world at what they do. So yeah.
Cole's come back with a no. Cole's come back with a no for me.
Oh right. What was you want? Oh, sheets. All right.
About me 1075 sheets. I've talked to you about maybe a bulk deal on water jet stuff.
The water jet cutout. The water jet cutting. I don't know why we didn't keep bulk sheets. There's quite a few people that use it, but anyway, the water jet cutting is why the way we cut our steel. And people say, "Oh, why is your steel more expensive?" Half the time, what you're paying for is that fucking water jet cutting. Because
I know what that costs. Yeah,
we can guillotine. And we can laser cut and we can plasma cut. We can do all these things that are so much cheaper, but none of them preserve the integrity of the steel like water jet does. The water jet rusts the surface, so you get steel from us, it looks rusty. Get over that because you're not. That's what it is. But exactly, and it doesn't impart. There's no heat affected zone. There's no. If the steel is warped, it's warped from original stresses. It's not warped and twisted in the way that guillotining and rolling does, where it looks straight, but it's just full of internal stresses, and it's not that cool. And Cole said he did keep you some 400 by 810 sheets of 1075.
Oh, well, I'll talk to you guys about that offline anyway.
Which are easier to ship anyway. They're heaps easier to ship.
Oh yeah, I'll drive up. That's all good.
And so he says,
I like coming up every now and then.
We've got another 6 ton.
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah, that's exciting.
Another 6 ton of 1084. 15 and 20 is being shipped right now. So there's heaps coming, and it is what it is. I
like the comment a few up from the Facebook user. You own my credit card now.
yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Look, honestly, it's just such a nice thing that we get the support that we get, and I understand that. We haven't been far from perfect, but we're doing our best. So, and like I said, there's no way we could have forecast what happened this year. There is no way.
Madness. No. Any or majority of industries where there's a hands-on hobby have cleared shelves consistently.
Yeah, we've had growth this year that we haven't seen since the first 2 years.
Yeah.
So that gives you some idea.
And the last thing on Timmy time when Timmy's not here. From Carl Truscott is any news on motors and VFDs for 48-inch grinders?
Any chance before Christmas? We've got 2 options for that, so I'm not sure what the situation is. I haven't been in the office. I've been working on this project on the South Coast. Carl will probably chime in and give us an answer to that. There's several options for motors and VFDs that we use on those. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Aaron Finn just chimed in. There you go. The KAA is running the last raffle for the year, which is awesome because you get a chance to win 2 grinders and a sizable voucher from Gamaco. I can't remember exactly how many was sold. Andrew Smith, if he's on there, might be able to chime in with that, but it was well over 60% or something. If you want a chance to win yourself a brand new grinder, jump on many of the pages. The Sydney Knife Show page on Facebook will have the link. Most of the other pages, you'll see a post from Andrew Smith. for that Knife Art Association raffle. Beautiful photos from Riley Burns. And I tell you, you got to be in it to win it. What a fucking awesome prize to win just before Christmas.
So Cole says that the shopmates are being dispatched every day. So there is a queue. And if you want to know your position in the queue, there's a guy in the office called Matthew Wilkins who should be managing that at the moment. I'm not sure if he is, but he's the guy to talk to. He runs the queues for the grinders. Ian Ronald, give Ian a call, or if you can't get through to or a message to Ian, then Tim or those guys will tell you what position you are and the likely shipping date. The grinders we've been running anywhere up to 8 weeks behind, 2 months behind on grinders, and so we've now got stock of most everything, and it's just a matter now of just catching up on the orders. It's just incredible. So happening. How does your artisan supplied side compare to the gas side percentage of business? Has the maker side increased a bit over the last few years? So the gas side has 4 main warehouses. So we've got Queensland, Victoria, New South Wales, and New Zealand. In 2012, the whole business was gas. A few things happened back then. The first was that they stopped making dedicated LPG vehicles. They put a tariff onto LP gas, auto gas, which drove the price up, and and that basically killed the automotive industry. It was a terrible time for the business, and we were running stock down, so we had a bit of cash, and we got into knife making for no other reason than I wanted to bring in some steel for me and my friends.
Yeah.
That business is now 50% of New South Wales. So of the New South Wales, percent of the business is now New South Wales, is now knife making, which gives you an idea. But the number of orders, because the orders are so small in knife making, typically the number of orders is orders of magnitude more, like 90% of the orders are artisan supplies to 10% gas. So it gives you a bit of an idea of what it is. So yeah, without giving too much away, it's just it's
huge.
Just, huge, yeah. It's so without it, the auto gas industry is dead and probably gone forever for this country. But we have knife making instead. Hurrah! Yeah. Whatever. I still laugh about it. I find it fucking hilarious that we're selling knife making stuff. I really do, but it is what it is.
It's just unreal.
Yeah. So yeah, it still makes up a tiny portion of the business as a whole.
Yes.
When you look at the size of our Brisbane warehouse and all the stuff we do for, if you wanted a mainline filter, so if you're talking about a gas filtration system that's filtering the gas running from Sydney from Melbourne to Sydney up from the Bass Strait, we're filtering all the gas there with our filter elements. That's a different business entirely, and it's much easier than knife making. But anyway, good on you, Owen. Thanks for that. Yep, Owen says you'd have to be proud of what you've built there for sure. And I started it, that's true, but the team should be proud. They've done a really grand job and keeping their heads afloat this year and keeping them all. It's just been a tough year for everybody. So, I'm so glad that we're now midway through December. This might be the last podcast of the year. We'll see how we go. I am just super, super proud of my team. It's been hard. There's been a lot of disagreements and there's been stress and tension but when you're running 2 weeks behind, most of your staff are fielding "where's my order" inquiries that take up their time instead of being able to get out and ship the orders, which is so you end up chasing your own tail when you get behind, and the workload goes up in a way that's, I don't expect anyone to wait 2 weeks, but just nothing we could have done at the time. The number of orders coming in was wrong. It was good, but wrong. Yeah. So Andrew Smith says he sold 70% of the tickets in the raffle. So the raffle will be drawn. There's 2 shopmate for him.
Wow.
And 2 $500 gift vouchers from Gamaco.
2 $500 gift vouchers.
So 2 grinders to win. So guys, if you like Bobby Smith, buy him a raffle ticket. There you go, and you can win a grinder. He's for his birthday. Get in touch with him, get him a raffle ticket. And all the money raised, obviously, from that, and I'll repeat this again, goes back into the industry. The Knife Art Association is a not-for-profit like there's companies out there that run stuff that for the benefit of the company. That all the money that goes to the Knife Art Association goes to running, well, the best events in Australia, bar none.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Without a doubt. And just promoting knife makers and the sale of knives. So we've got to get back into it. And
Absolutely.
as Adam Coombs says, we've come a long way since we were just running basically every other weekend, me and Adam in my garage. He was there at the start. Me and Adam working in my garage, and then I'd invite people over. We'd have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people, and more people would come on the weekends and make knives. And that was back in the 2010 sort of period, 2008, 2009, 2010. It got to the point where I couldn't do them because the number of people that were turning up was just, and I wasn't really charging. Like I was asking people for $50 to cover materials and belts and stuff for a weekend, which is ridiculous. Like you can't sustain that level of, it's just not, it just covers a little bit of the cost really. And people start to realize that when they get into it, because it is expensive. You've got to sell your knives, you've got to get money for them. And that's why the Knife Art Association exists. So you can help you promote and sell knives for the profit of the industry.
Absolutely. Unreal.
Matt Snape says it's going to be a wild Christmas party at Gamaco. I think we're just going down the club for a few beers and we're just going to probably be a lot of exhausted faces. But yeah, look, seriously, I just can't say thank you enough to everybody that's made this year what it's been. Thanks very much. I'm done, Kev. I'm going to bed.
Yeah, no, I'm done too. We may or may not be back on next week. It's the 17th next week before Christmas Eve. So we might get on. We might get on for one last hurrah. We need to give Mert a chance at redemption. Get on there with his. Yeah, we'll have a podcast. We'll get everyone in. We'll have a drink and talk shit about, knife making in Australia as we always do. Thanks everyone for joining in and having a listen. We appreciate you guys coming on board with us every week or two when we get on.
Don't forget the shirts. Don't forget to buy your shirts. Gamaco's still selling our shirts.
We got a new run of shirts in.
Gamaco donate all funds from those shirts. From those raised to support the podcast expenses and just make all this possible for us. So, yeah, get and buy the shirts if you want to support the podcast. Buy one and wear it.
Wear it with pride, but not just wear it. Let's not go there. All right, everyone. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Julianne. Thanks, Owen, and everyone else.
Good on you. Bye.
Bye.